are doing Lexia or Power Up, they need to do this as a pre-assessment, and then we'll have to do it again in the spring as a post-assessment. So I'm going to toggle between two different tabs on my screen. This one here is the Core Phonics survey. It has instructions at the beginning. And then as I get down to page 9, that's where the student material starts. So this is what you'd present to students. The other pages are instructions or recording pages, but we're actually going to record in a spreadsheet that has been sent to us by the Lexia Central support team. And it looks like this. Okay, so I'll go through kind of how you would administer it and what you're looking for, and then how to score it as well. Okay, so these are all the students who need to have the assessment are already on the spreadsheet. So they're here. So let's pretend that we are recording. Let's pretend we are administering the test for Austin. So the first thing we would do, don't worry about putting in the PAL of the student if you don't know it. I can always go back and do that. If you double click on this cell, it's a calendar cell. So you're just going to choose today's date. And then this is where the recording starts. Everything else is already pre-filled. So the first section of the test is about letter names and letter sounds. I do administer this part of the test to all students, no matter what grade they're in, because sometimes you find something interesting, and if they are fluent and automatic, it doesn't take very long. This cell here, we've got a lagging computer situation here. This cell here that I'm pointing at that says no entry required, you don't need to put anything in there. It keeps a running total of the previous 5 scores. If a student gets perfect, it turns green. If they get a few wrong, it's blue. If they get a substantial amount wrong, it's yellow. So that's color-coded, and so are the next few sections. The next sections are reading words. So reading words are in, I think, 7 different sections, starting with our 3-letter CVC words. And in every section of reading words, which I will show you, there are also some nonsense words. So these are words that aren't real, but there is a correct way that we're listening for the student to read them. So that's important sometimes for the student to know, because sometimes they're trying to think of the real word or a real word in their head and try to make the word they're looking at fit that known word bank. So we don't want them struggling with that. We want to provide them the knowledge that some of these words are made up. Okay, so just diving back over here to this tab, this is part A. It is capital letters. Okay, you'll present this. You can either cover the rest of the page with a different card, or when you prepare the testing material, you can cut each box. So you're just giving them one of the little boxes at a time. So they're just going to read through D, A, N, S, X. If they make any mistakes, you're just going to kind of keep track of that as they name off the letters, and then you're going to give them a score out of 26 in this column here. And then again with lowercase letters. Okay, if students get confused here with the L and the I, they look exactly the same. You can clarify that this is uppercase, and down here this is lowercase. Okay, part C, we are looking for sounds. So I accept if a student gives you just the very correct phonetic sound, just the just that very beginning sound. Some students will give you a more pronounced duh, la, nah. That's okay too. We want to make sure they know the sound. So some students will give you more of a d, ul, n, s, and some students might give you d, la, n, s. That's okay. When a student gets to C, if they give me the soft sound for a C, I'll often encourage them and say, is there a second sound that letter makes? Vowels, we want to know if they can do the short and the long. So usually what I'll ask them to do is I'll ask them to make the short vowel sounds for me first, because that's usually what they want to do, and then the long vowel sounds. So each of these parts have their own column in the spreadsheet, except for short and long vowels. You use that same box, part D box, but there's two columns to show how they did with their short sound and how they did with their long sound. With regards to sounds and letter names, if there's confusion, especially with the vowels, I do like to make notes of that in this column here. So this student here, I wrote struggled with short vowel sounds. You don't have to make notes in this section. I just find it helpful, especially when there's sound and vowel confusion. Okay, so that's the first part. And like I said, you'll see as I fill in Austin's, you'll see column N kind of auto-populate. And if he gets them all, it will automatically be green. As soon as he gets one wrong in this section, it moves into blue. Now we're into reading words. So reading words looks like this. So we've got different parts, and the different parts do all attack kind of different concepts of phonics. So I do try to present my student with every part of the test, even if they're struggling in part E and part F. I often don't stop. If they are getting a 0, like getting 0 words in a full section, then I would probably stop. I might try the first 2 or 3 words in the next one. And if they're still struggling, I'll say, okay, that's enough for now. We'll try again in the spring and see how much better we do then. Important thing to know is as they go through the words, you're listening for a correct pronunciation. So we want sip, mat, let, bun, hog. And it's important that the students know the last line of each box are those made up words we talked about earlier. All right, so there's 3 boxes on the first page and 4 boxes on the second page. So part H, we see our R-controlled vowels. We have long vowel sounds, long vowel combinations. Okay, all the way down to the last page, which is the multi-syllable words. The only difference here is these are organized in rows with the last word in each row being the nonsense word. So you're listing for unless, consent, timbut, competes, admire, rompete, depend, radishes, podated, 0, menu, gramu, locate, inhaled, pentate, stable, dimple, morkel, further, bordered, darber, railways, roaring, fontoon. Okay, as you go, just do your best to keep track of how many right or how many errors they're making, and then just record them in the spreadsheet while the test is happening. That way, you don't have to have multiple pages and then transfer the data later.